We're ready for Illustrator number 7. And again, these are small assignments that are getting you ready for a bigger project that's coming later. We have this one today, we have another one tomorrow, and then there is a project. It's like, in math class, you do a bunch of assignments and then you have a test, or in language arts, you do a bunch of assignments and then you have a test. Well, that's kind of how it is here. We're doing a bunch of assignments, and then we're going to have a project where you use what you have learned. That's what I'm trying to do. All right. So I'm going to go to period 2 to show you some of this, and I'll go to classwork. This is the Pathfinder today. So on the Pathfinder assignment, you'll see a help page. There's also an artboard for you to use. The help page looks like this. You're going to do some examples of what's called unite and minus front. I'm going to show you all this, so I'm not going to read this to you. But you'll be doing some uniting of shapes and some minus front, and then also using the shape builder tool, which is kind of another way to do the same thing as the Pathfinder panel. But you're going to do some uniting and subtracting with the shape builder tool as well. And then you just have to save it and turn it in. The Pathfinder and the shape builder are about making more complicated shapes than just basic things like a box or a circle. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean if you'll just watch. All right. So back here, once again on Classroom, you have this artboard that is posted here. You would need to hit the little 3-dot menu up in the corner, open a new window, and then you could hit your downloads button. All right. I've already got it downloaded. I'm just going to go to open, and I'm going to open the Pathfinder assignment. And it's coming. And there it is. All right. So let's zoom up on this a little bit. Let me close this so I can do that from scratch. Zoom up on that just a smidge. All right. So when you're looking at your Pathfinder panel here, notice I'm holding down the space bar and scooting this back and forth. There are 2 artboards, so I don't want anybody to do, this first task that I have over here on the left where it says, I've got some information here for you. And there's an artboard right here where you do your work. And I put a reminder down here, there's another artboard. And so over here on this other artboard, there's still a little bit more work to do. So don't do the thing that's here on the first artboard and then think, well, okay, I'm done, just turn it in. Make sure that you do both sides of this, okay? Now, up here at the top, it says, I made a reminder here. I suggest that you go up to the window menu right up here and you get the Pathfinder. That's probably actually not showing up in the movie because it's way down toward, these are alphabetical, and it's way down toward the bottom of the list. So it's Pathfinder that you're looking for. It just goes off the bottom of my movie window that I'm using here. But here's what the Pathfinder panel looks like. It's just window Pathfinder, and it's got all these buttons. And don't get all worried here. We're not going to use all of these buttons, so you don't have to remember all of these. We're only going to use a couple today. All right, so here's the idea. The Pathfinder just helps you make more complicated shapes. And I'm going to show you some examples. All right. The first thing we're going to do is unite shapes together. And I want 3 examples of this. So use the top part of the artboard here, and we're going to do 3 examples of uniting things together. Well, okay, so let's try something like this. I'll take the rectangle tool. You could steal my ideas here and do things similar to what I do, or come up with something different on your own. That's okay too. So I'll just kind of draw a flat rectangle like that, and then I'll draw another flattish or tall rectangle kind of like that. I'll take my black arrow tool and just get those arranged however I want them to be. Now the thing I want you to notice right now is that that's 2 separate shapes, right? That there's a rectangle here and there's a rectangle here. All right. Well, for this to work, for the Pathfinder to work, they have to the shapes have to be touching or overlapping somewhere somehow. So I'm going to get those so they're overlapping like that. Now you don't have to do it just like me, but you do have to unite shapes together in order for it to count. So here's what I'm going to do to show you this idea. I've got these 2 boxes drawn, right? So I'm just going to use my black arrow tool, and I'm going to select both, right? I have to click here and drag and select both of them. And then this first button right here, if you float over it, you'll see a little pop-up that will tell you it's going to unite those shapes together. Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's going to combine those two boxes together and make it into one shape. And it's just like that there. It's like a plus sign. That can't really be a big surprise to you, right? I just united those shapes together and they are now one shape. And it's a more complex shape than it was a minute ago. It was two separate rectangles a minute ago. Now it's something more complicated than that. It's a plus sign. Okay, well, now if you wish, you can come over here. You can fill it however you want to fill it today. Maybe I'll fill that with some yellow. Maybe I'll bump the stroke up a little bit. You do whatever you want there. That's really kind of up to you. Okay. Well, but you got to do 3 over here on this little text item that I put on the left of the artboard. So you got to do 3 examples of this. Well, all right. So let's do some other things really quick here. Like, let's see. Let's just do this. Let's go. I'm going to get the polygon tool, and I'm going to click once, and I'm going to tell it that I want 3 sides. I want to draw a triangle. And I think I'll take my black arrow and I'll make that triangle a little bit bigger. And I'm also going to point to a corner. This is all stuff we've learned before. You know, you can point to a corner and you can rotate things. Now I'm going to hold the Alt key and drag that, and I'm going to point to a corner, and I'm going to spin it around this way. And now here's how I'm going to overlap them. Remember, for the Pathfinder to work, the shapes have to be touching or overlapping. Well, so see, I've got these 2 triangles that are just kind of overlapping a little bit. So now here's what I do. I take my black arrow tool and select them, right? They have to be selected for this to work. And now I'm going to bring my Pathfinder into play here, and I'm going to unite those together. So this is now one shape. It's like a bow tie or an hourglass. If I were to spin that 90 degrees, it would look like an hourglass, right? But make whatever shape, you know. I'm not going to be picky about what shape you make. I just want you to do an example of uniting some shapes together. Now, here's the thing about these lessons that are on video. So like right now, if you need to pause the video and go do this part of it, you know, if you need to go do a couple of them, then do it. Pause the video if you need to, and then come back to the video when it's time to go on. But you know, use whatever strategy you need. All right, so we got to do one more here. I'm going to take the ellipse tool this time, and I'm going to draw an ellipse kind of like that, and then I'll draw another ellipse kind of like that. And I'm going to take the second ellipse that I drew, and I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to lay it on there kind of like this. You know, I could, well, all right, for kicks and giggles, I'll to do that duplicating, I'm holding the Alt key and dragging the object. That's not a new thing. That's why I'm not really saying it. I'm holding the Alt key down and dragging the object. So now you see what I've got here. This is 3 separate ellipses that are just lying on top of each other. And remember, for the Pathfinder to work, they have to be touching or overlapping. All right, so I'm going to select all of those. I could have done one more in there, but oh well, that's okay. So I'm going to select all of those using the black arrow. And this is my 3rd example of uniting, right? So I'll just click Unite, and it looks like this. And I could fill that with any color I feel like I want to fill it with. And all right, yay, there we go. Okay, so see how all 3 of those are more complex, complicated shapes than what you could do. There's no tool over here to draw shapes like that, but these are more complex shapes that are made out of simple shapes. This was made out of boxes. This was made out of triangles. This was made out of ovals, right? That's all this is. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next thing, which is called minus front. We're going to do 3 examples of that. Okay. Minus front works like this. I'm going to take the oval tool and draw an oval. I'm going to make that just plain black and white. And then I'm going to draw another oval that I will just take and kind of lay over the top of the first oval. They have to overlap, right? Okay. So I'm going to do it like that. And just for, I don't know, just so you can see more of what's going on, I'm going to color. You don't really, color doesn't matter that much, but I want you to see what's going on. So the one oval is yellow and the other oval is red, and the red oval is obviously on top of the yellow oval. All right, so I'm going to get them just laying there like that, and I'm going to select both of them. Remember, you have to select to make this work. So I'm going to use my black arrow and select so that both of them are selected like this. The minus front button is the second button on the first row of this Pathfinder panel. And if you float your mouse over it, it'll tell you minus front. You can see it right there. And here's what minus front does. Boom. Now see what happened? And I'm going to Control Z undo that once just so you can talk you through this. When you do minus front, the shape in front is going to punch through the shape underneath like a cookie cutter, and it's going to cut out, you know, that kind of a shape. It's like a cookie cutter. It's the best way that I can explain it. It's going to punch through. And also that red oval is going to be gone after I do a minus front. Boom. The red oval no longer exists, right? And it just leaves me with this shape right here. Let's look at it. We'll do something kind of similar here. I'll make a donut. It'll be like a donut, right? So I've got two ovals, and I've got a smaller one that I'm just going to, it doesn't have to be perfectly centered, but I'm just going to lay it on top of I've got a smaller oval lying on top of a bigger oval. And again, the only reason I'm changing colors here is so that you can see what's going on. I just want you to see what's going on. So I've got kind of a, you know, orange and green, right? Take the black arrow, select them both. I'm going to do minus front. Now what's going to happen is the green is going to punch through the orange. It's going to punch a hole in the orange, and the green's going to be gone. The green will not any longer even exist. All right, so I'm going to go do minus front. And just to prove it to you, see the hole in the orange donut there? Right, it really did. It's not like it just is a white circle on top of the orange. It's, all right, cool, there. And you know, again, you could try this with anything. I'll just kind of stick with some ovals here. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to stick with some ovals here, and I'll draw one like that and one like that. Okay, you see what I got? And again, the only reason I'm changing some color here is so that you can see what's happening. Okay, so there's like a blue and a red, and the red is on top of the blue, right? So I'm going to select them both, and I'm going to do minus front. It's the second button on the top row, minus front, boom. And it leaves you with this shape right here. The red punched through, and the red is gone. And so that's what minus front is. So you could do, you know, if you're having trouble thinking of, oh, I don't know what to do, you could do things similar to what I showed you right here. It's totally fine. It's okay. You could do that. Or you could use your imagination and do something different. But there's 1, 2, 3 up here at the top that are examples of uniting shapes together. And then there's 1, 2, 3 down here at the bottom that are examples of doing that whole minus front thing where the top shape punches through the bottom shape. All right. Well, now we got a little bit more work to do over here. And again, if you're thinking, well, this is so much to remember, then pause the video and go do this much of the assignment, and then come back to the video when you're ready, and you can continue, right? So this is a really similar thing over here. We're going to do some uniting and subtracting, but we're going to use a different tool. It's not really the Pathfinder panel. It's a tool on the toolbar. And so if you're thinking, well, why even bother? Why do it two different ways? It's just a matter, I want you to know about them, and then you can make a personal choice about which way you like better. Right? That's all it is. It's coming up with ways that you understand and ways that you like it. And so here we go. So here's what I'm going to do on this one. Steal my idea if you want to. I'm going to make a kind of a small circle, a little bit larger circle, a little bit larger circle. You can probably tell where I'm headed with this. So I'm thinking snowman, right? Now, I've got those overlapping, right? They're touching. They have to be overlapping or touching, or this won't work. Then the next thing you have to do is once you have, and if you want to do a snowman, then do a snowman. But once you see the idea, you could do something different if you understand the idea. Take your black arrow tool and select all three of them. You know, just kind of click out here in an empty spot and drag a box around them, and so they're all selected. Now the tool that I'm going to be using is right here. It's called the Shape Builder. And you can kind of see in that little animation that they put on the menu kind of how it works, right? So I'm going to just click the shape builder, and here's what happens. All I have to do is just drag over, just click the mouse and drag over these things, and it will automatically unite them together. So I just go like this. I just click and drag over there, and it united those shapes together, right? And I'll prove it to you here. I'll turn this, I'll turn it yellow or something. Oh, well, I got to switch the black arrow, and then I can turn it yellow, I think. Boom. I did not switch to the black arrow. Sorry, I thought I did, but I didn't. All right, and I could bump the stroke up a little bit or whatever. All right, see, those shapes are united together, and the shape builder tool is just a different way to do it. That's all. Okay, now you can also do kind of a minus front or a subtraction kind of thing with the shape builder tool. So I'm going to show you that as well, and I want you to try it. So I'm going to draw a like a tall, thin rectangle. I'm just going to make it black and white to begin with, and I'm going to draw a tall, thin rectangle like that, and then I'm going to draw another kind of a thinner horizontal rectangle, and I'm going to take I want to tilt that just a little bit. And again, remember, your version of this assignment does not have to be just like mine, but you can, like I said, you can pause the video and you can go do part of the assignment, and you can steal my ideas as long as you got to do it yourself, right? All right, so now with this slanted rectangle, I'm going to press the Alt key and drag that down, and I'm going to make some copies of that, like that. Now, I'm going to play with color a little bit, just again, I just kind of would like for you to see what's going on here, right? So I made the first rectangle, that tall vertical rectangle, I made it red, and I left the others white. So here's what I'm going to do with the shape builder. That I want this to kind of wind up looking like a candy cane or something like that. It's going to be red with white stripes. But right now the problem is that these rectangles are sticking out way past the edge of the red, and I kind of don't want that, right? I would like to make it look like there's these diagonal stripes on the red. So that's what the shape builder tool can do for you, and I'm going to show you how to do it. You select all of it, take the black arrow here, and the only difference, like if I were just to take the shape builder tool right here and just drag down there, it would just combine all those things together, it would unite them together, but I'm not just going to drag it down here. I'm going to press the Alt key. All right, that's the trick here. I'm going to press the Alt key, and if I drag over that, see what happened there? I'm holding down the Alt key and I drag the mouse over this, and it just kind of it just subtracts that out. It just takes it out. I could do all of them at once. I could hold the Alt key and just drag all the way down, right, like this. I'm pressing the Alt key, and I can just drag all the way down like that, and then let go of the mouse, and boom. So you see what I did, right? It just trimmed off, it just kind of like cut off all of the excess that was sticking out there. And this leaves me with this, look, it kind of looks like a candy cane, or, whatever you want to call that, I don't know. And these are actually separate pieces here. Those little white stripes are actually separate pieces. Control Z, undo that. And we'll talk about grouping later. You could group all that together so it all stays together. But anyway, I want to be done with the assignment. So this is it, right? On the first one, you're working on the first artboard, 3 examples of uniting and 3 examples of minus front. And I've got examples right there. And if you want to use my ideas, then use my ideas. And then on this other artboard, just 1 example of uniting. I just united 3 circles together here. And then 1 example of doing the whole subtracting thing by holding the Alt key and using the shape builder and, subtracting something out. And I made this like red, I don't know what you want to call it, a candy cane, a red and white striped thing. You could do that too, unless you come up with a different idea. Then just save it, right? File, save as, and save on your computer. And you can put done or whatever there. All right. That's it. We're out of here.